Welcome everybody to Command Combat Computer Reports. Today with me are Troy, as he's been here several times.
Hello, hello.
And we have a special guest today, Cliff. He knows he has a doctorate in military history, and in particular, he knows Napoleonics pretty well.
Hello, how you doing?
So he's going to help us here with some of the history. I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of the setup, and then we're going to kind of give our own views on what we think is going to happen. It's Denmark versus Austria, and on Denmark's side we got some light dragoons, I think, on both flanks. Yes, and then we've got some Jagers. Is it Jagers or Jaegers? Jaegers. As skirmishers over on their right, on both flanks, and in the middle they got some 12-pounder and 12-pounder artillery and some 7-pounder howitzers, line infantry behind them, and lifeguards afoot pulling up the rear with, how would I pronounce that name there?
What?
Joachim Melchior Holten Kasten. Do you know his name, him at all?
Joachim Melchior Holten. I can't see them.
Oh, he's some general there. Then we also have line infantry there. Oh no, that's just some more cavalry along with them. Lifeguards, of course. Over on the Austrian side, wow, they're a long ways past all of these trees and hills and everything. Looks like they don't have a skirmish line in the front. They are leading with their Hungarian fusiliers at the front. They've got some artillery, along there, some 6-pounders and 7-pounders, general staff, just a generic general there, and some fusiliers in the back, some light some light cavalry in the back. I should mention that it's light cavalry on the Denmark side, although they have one thing of heavy cavalry back there in the back. So, what do you guys think of this setup? Who would you be rooting for at this point, or who do you think has an advantage in this one?
Well, I have to be honest, Jeff, since I am of Danish origin, I don't think it's going to be a contest. I think the Danes are going to trample the Austrians and will be having their pastries by noon.
Well, yeah, I think I would like some pastries too, but I am just sort of hungry at this point. Cliff,
Did you say hungry or Hungarian?
They're not in this battle though. Okay, Cliff, what do you think of this house? Look at that house. Look at that. There's a great paint job. Oh yeah, and the battle itself.
Well, it looks like, I hate to disagree with Troy here, but the numbers with the Austrian Fusiliers and the land is suited better for them than it is for the Danes. And even though this is Danish territory, they have more troops to lose. And so the Danes have to win first, they have to win fast, or they're finished.
That is a very good point. I hadn't even thought about that, but you're right. That is, they have a larger number of lines. Now, they do not have the range because they don't have their they don't have the Jaeger. Well, what are the Jaegers? They're
skirmishers.
Skirmishers. Thank you. They don't have the rifles with the rifles with the skirmishers.
But that could be a problem because it takes a long time to reload the rifle in this period. A long time.
That is a very good point. So we're going to have to see how they do in terms of shooting back and forth. And if the Austrians, I would predict that the Austrians will win if they use their infantry correctly. They get up there, get into their faces. They don't try to make it a ranged fight. They push through the skirmishers. And if they're able to do that and still have the numbers, they're going to get into those lines. There's also going to be an artillery fight here, but the terrain really is not very friendly to artillery, I'd say.
No.
Well, gentlemen, I just have to say, ha!
Well, let's see.
I have 2 words for you.
Oh, yeah?
Fermented fish.
Well,
never underestimate the fortitude of a whole culture that can subsist on fermented fish. Back to you, Mr. PhD.
well, the whole fight is going to be right here on this promontory. Whoever can control this promontory at the beginning of the battle.
Here. This promontory?
Yeah, whoever can control it and hold it will have the advantage.
And it looks like the Austrians are going to do just that.
But
they're moving up their light cavalry already, putting some behind and some on top of it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, the thing is about cavalry can't hold hills. You need infantry up there. And
right, and what I'm seeing right now is that the Austrians are infantry excuse me, their cavalry, but they're not even starting to move up their infantry very much at all.
Yeah, slowly they're now starting to move, but it looked like he put his concentration on getting that cavalry up there, and now they're starting to move back.
Already, see,
they're
told
being-
you,
They threw fish at
it's
them.
over. You can quit it now. It's over.
Oh, the Danish are now starting to bring up their horse artillery.
Yeah, there is the problem. Once the artillery's on that hill, whoever has the control of that hill with artillery is going to slaughter the infantry coming down.
That very well might be true. Now, he did leave his artillery back there to fire, but he did have the initiative by leaving that artillery back there to fire, and he's already bringing up his skirmishers and backed up by the infantry.
Cliff, what do you think? The Danes are coming across, I think, in rather loose formations here. Do you agree with that maneuver?
Well, it's good for the terrain for them and loose and open order like that. The problem is they almost have to fight in open order. Now, once the Austrians get up there in their heavy formations, that's going to cause them a problem.
Are they in a better position then to outflank the Austrians with this kind of loose formation?
If they have the moment, if they're fast enough and they can get on their flank, because in this period of time, it's almost impossible for an army to fight in two different directions at the same time.
That's interesting. I didn't think about that. That's true. And it looks like the Danes have kept themselves pretty concentrated and are firing up there and putting the fire on them. I did notice that they lost one artillery piece somehow. I'm not sure how that happened.
Well, that's just attrition. That usually happens.
Oh. That's
Essentially breaking down.
Breaking down, horse falls over, it falls over a rock, and wheel comes off. Or during this period of time, steel was. These are usually brass, and they go up.
Okay, although the gun itself seems to be okay.
So they just.
Yeah, maybe the men to desertion? We gotta find them.
Those men may have been killed.
That's true. I wonder where they went. I'm gonna go for that they deserted. They went to the house.
Yeah.
It's the beautiful house. Now it looks like actually the Austrians are trying to do a flank maneuver here. They're sending
They're sending their cavalry.
all of it. 3 light.
They're trying to get behind into the rear, into their rear area.
That looks like a good move. I mean,
Ouch.
it really honestly does not look like. Oh, I was gonna say the Danes don't see it coming, but now they're sending. They have 2 things of light cavalry, and they're bringing over their heavies. So they're going to
Now,
have.
if the Austrians are going to see this in time to adjust what they're doing,
Well, they hit something pretty big over there.
Yeah, they're moving in, although they haven't quite hit each other yet. Yeah,
Here it
they're.
comes.
Yep, they don't see the heavy probably back there, and it's going to be 1 Austrian versus 2 lights. So I'd say the Austrians are. Yeah, they're already losing. You can see the bar up there; it's turning orange. Now they're bringing the others, but it might be a little late, and they're bringing in these guys. Going to try to bring in behind.
oh, beautiful timing by the Danes. Waiting until the Austrians are
This
really
is
committed.
bad. This is bad counter cavalry. Really bad.
It is really. You didn't get a real strong hit like they normally do.
It's heavy cavalry is good as shock, and they couldn't get enough momentum to really put the damage.
That's a good point.
So the Danes maybe would have been better off in pushing these guys further over
They should
here,
have got them onto that field, that plane right there.
and then turned and brought them down.
Yeah.
Oh, they should have hit him earlier. Although,
They couldn't wait a little bit. They waited till these guys were fully engaged with their light cavalry, and they come up the hill, ride down, and hit them in the flank.
although it looks like it worked pretty well for them because they now have routed all the Austrian cavalry. The Austrians now also are moving their infantry over here. Oh, they do have. Oh, I missed them. They actually do have skirmishers. I didn't see this, but it's a little too late to save their cavalry. So this is going to be one of those situations where
This is about attrition.
the Danes now have cavalry and the Austrians have none. This
I'd
is
say the Danes are doing a nice job of pushing the advantage of the
They do, because they have the hill and they have the artillery range of the Austrians.
and it looks like they're going to try to break up the skirmishers there.
This is the best thing they can do, is keep them from running so they can't come back. They'll be able to control the field and give them their heavy infantry.
That's right.
I saw the Austrians trying to set up their skirmishers there, but the cavalry's too fast to really allow them to do it.
Yeah, and skirmishers don't so they can't fight cavalry off.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, and now here the Austrians are going to try to counter by bringing in their heavy infantry, or bringing a little bit of it in, but that cavalry can get out of there.
Too late.
Well,
Yeah.
what they're doing is trying to force the Austrians to throw in their reserve. If they throw in their reserve too early, they've lost.
Yeah.
They're not moving that patch of troops over there, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
That's their reserve.
And that's right. I think that's the one thing the Austrians have done correctly so far is they have not committed their reserves to go over there. Because if they had done that, now they'd be pointing their flank to the Danish infantry that they could then sort of rush in and start doing something.
And the way the Danes have set up, they are giving almost nothing away where their soldiers are. Their soldiers are completely protected from the artillery, from the Austrian artillery. They're missing everything.
It's almost they're wasting
It's
out.
an artillery point. This is.
In fact, let's take a look at what the damage is. It looks like Danes have still not lost anything except that one that got
Mysteriously,
is
they
unmanned.
fell out of warranty.
Yeah, yes. Meanwhile, you got the Austrians here, and it looks like they haven't really taken much
They
damage.
really should have gotten the roadside service plan.
But you can see actually that there's some burn marks, and this might be from the Austrians themselves. Sometimes you get placed poorly and you just keep hitting the hill.
They're using balls. They're not using canister shot.
Yeah. I think that, yeah.
Bouncing ball theory?
Yeah. This is now, the Austrians have a good position where they have that rise of the hill protecting the artillery, so they're fighting from the reverse.
Yeah, you know, in fact, later on in history, in the American Civil War, Jackson actually put his artillery just slightly back, and so it would actually fall back down the hill. Oh, now we have some movement again over here.
That's still Austrian.
Actually, this one I believe is the General Staff. I think that, yeah, I'm not sure what the... Oh, here we go. The Danish cavalry got the back
They
there.
have gotten into their rear,
Yeah.
which is that is a good thing.
You know what? That must have been what the General Staff was running from. That was probably their target, and they just barely missed them. They did, you know, they are taking pounding. What is? Oh, but they did. Oh, they took out some of the artillery. There we go.
That's what they were supposed to do.
Yep.
Chase, now they've been taken away their artillery.
Our men are running, sir.
Now they're just.
Well,
Now there's an infantry fight.
Yeah, now it's going to be interesting. Now, there is some artillery still here. But something else that they did that was interesting is, you notice this artillery had to turn around to fire at the cavalry. Yeah, so that gave a little bit more time for Danish artillery to be firing at them.
Now I have to ask, in this moment, as the Danes, when you see that the Austrians have turned their artillery, do you try and limber up your own and move them into a position to start hammering them before they have a chance to turn?
Ideally, that would be a good idea, but if you've got the advantage on the promontory, I would move them because you've got these guys pinned down. They can't move without your artillery seeing them. If they move anywhere, you will.
Yeah.
So at this point, what do you guys think the Austrians can do? What's the best thing the Austrians can do, Jeff?
You know, I'm not sure. That would be a tough one from the, you know, at this point, with cavalry being harassing you everywhere, probably the best thing, in my opinion, is to find a place, the weakest point in the Danes, and strike them. Your time is limited now. At this point, the clock is ticking. They're going to just start picking you off with the cavalry. And I'd say go for it. What do you think, Cliff?
Well, since the Danish cavalry, I don't know if they have heavy cavalry still active, but this would be the time for them to try to take that hill.
Yeah.
This is the only time they have, because their cavalry is gone. Part of their artillery is gone. They need to push up and take that hill, but they need to.
So So damn the casualties, damn the attrition. Go for it.
They're going to have to if they want to take control of the field by evening. They need to take it.
You know, and also the Danes are now in motion. You can see they're starting to move through like a flank attack here or something.
They're flanking and they're keeping the Austrians pinned.
Yeah.
Because they don't have cavalry to stop them.
Yeah.
See, they're maneuvering right in the open.
Yeah. Yeah, because if they had cavalry, it's just like you say, Cliff. They are pinning them down. Whoa! Strike!
Okay, they put a ball right between in the middle of that column. They're going to take a second to reorganize and get themselves back together.
Yeah.
But
Viva la bouncing ball.
Yeah, that's the problem with that's what those balls were used for, bouncing in the ground, and it takes you men down like that.
Yeah. And in fact, they're taking quite a beating while the Austrian infantry is coming up.
Yeah.
Now, this could turn around, actually, at this point. Because
at this point, it could turn around.
Now, as Denmark, do you maybe split your forces there and try and pinch them, or do you leave them in strength and numbers?
You need to stay in strength and number. What they need to do is lay down a heavy amount of artillery right there at that line, and then put their cavalry on. To try to get their cavalry on.
I'll get the cavalry on their flanks or their rear or something?
Rear and their flank. They'll have a square to drive off their cavalry.
And then
Are the Danes in position to actually reach them with the artillery right now?
They're still hammering them, but they're being blocked by trees.
Yeah.
oh, and now the Austrians are able to bring out their canister.
Yeah, they're bringing out canister shot.
This, you know, we thought this was over for the Austrians, but as you can see, things can turn around. I mean, the infantry is really.
The problem is for them is that they can't extend their line any further because they're going to walk right off the side of that hill.
You know, that's where the Danes have really done something smart here when you think about it, because they've just reduced the Austrian superiority in numbers.
Yes, they've pinned them to a smaller place. And so getting them pinned and getting them to kneel so their artillery lay into them.
Yeah. And then, and now they are open. You can see the artillery over there. So if they can turn their artillery over here, the Austrian infantry may just get hammered.
Yeah.
This will be an interesting thing to see if the Danes do that. So far, their Danish artillery seems to be focused on their on the Austrian artillery, but there's where the cavalry came.
They're taking out their artillery pieces.
Yeah. Now they're going to lose their cavalry, the Danish cavalry.
But it's still a battle.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. That's just what I was thinking. It's like a chess game.
Yeah.
You're there to be lost.
And all the fermented fish you can carry.
Yes, exactly. Now I didn't even realize the Austrians hadn't brought all their infantry over to the other area. They
were holding their infantry reserve.
Yeah.
I have to pose the idea that the infantry maneuver there by the Danes was a feint.
Yeah.
Mm.
They were looking to draw the Austrians' attention so they could come around with their cavalry.
That could very well be.
That would be a smart move.
And they are Danes. They're known for being sneaky.
You know, it's interesting. There's like this little minor fight going on over here. Oh, this is the tank. Yeah, this is the artillery crew. You can see the little thing. So two artillery guys against one infantry guy.
This is not Uncle Jaeger. He doesn't have a bayonet.
Yeah. So there's like, they're kind of back. Oh well, now they're kind of.
These are skirmishers there, so they're running for it because they're out of bullets.
Yeah. Oh, and now they're getting hit by a canister. Oh yeah, they're out of it. They're running.
If it had been any closer, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Now the grenadiers.
Oh, and now actually the Austrians have found a way to get around on their flank.
But they can't get that far because they're stuck right there.
They're right there at the edge, yeah. So yeah, you're starting to actually see some Danes weakening here.
Yeah, but this is a weak point
for the Austrians. It's right in the center.
This center point is broken.
Yeah.
Now here comes the Austrian heavy cavalry.
Oh, although actually that's General Staff. They're actually out of cavalry at the moment.
They're out of cavalry.
Yeah, you know what? The Austrians should be fixing this hole. It's right there. You're exactly right. Oh, and they're going in.
They're formed into a square. Somebody has to have cavalry around here somewhere. They're being formed into a square.
Oh, okay. You know, that is sometimes a game break, those. I do know sometimes when you just want to be shooting on several directions, that you can go into a square.
Well, this is where the Danes need to bring up and break this right here.
Yeah, right in this point. But I don't know if they... Now, where is their heavy infantry? They have the line infantry? Oh, there's the lifeguard. That's it. Lifeguard of foot.
Lifeguard of foot and then lifeguard of
That's the commander, the general staff.
Where's their
That's a good question. Let's see. They might have. Oh, there they are. Oh, good question. They just came into their rear. You know, it's interesting. The Danish cavalry just keeps disappearing and then coming in, doing something and then running off. It's kind of the way you want to do it. I think they're out of light cav, but that's the thing that they have left is heavy cav.
Well, see, the heavy cavalry seems to not be the momentum they need to really bust through those lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably right. Yeah. Oh, now the Austrians have brought in more infantry on the side.
Their reserve. They emptied their reserve.
Which was, yeah, that's why it was smart they saved them. This is shaping up to be a much better fight
Our
than I
men are
thought.
running, sir.
Now they have broken the Danish line.
Line right there, yeah. I think all that's left is their lifeguard afoot. So all they've got left is their general staff, some skirmishers, their heavy infantry, and their heavy cavalry against the Austrian infantry.
Yep.
This could turn around. And look at that, that's actually quite a bit of Austrian infantry.
Nice hit by the cannons there.
Yeah. But they are
You're going to need a few more of those.
They are running and chasing them off the field.
Yeah. I wonder what happened to that cavalry. Oh, there's that heavy cavalry still in the trees. But just like you say, this is bad terrain for heavy cavalry. They just are moving so slow.
They can't get the momentum they need to bust up that line.
Yeah. So yeah, this is gonna have to. You know what? We really thought that. I thought that at least the Danes had it, but this is now they're gonna have a final stand. Really, right down to it.
That's the sad part.
Yeah. And so we'll see if this could turn into a last stand of the Danes. Here, although it looks like they're trying to organize something here.
They still have a powerful artillery army. If they can get the Austrians in the open and recover their heavy cavalry, they still have a chance to drive them off the field with heavy cavalry.
And I think they're doing exactly that. Although the Austrians are being very smart, realizing.
Staying in the trees is a good idea, but the problem with staying in the trees is the splinters when those shells hit the trees.
Yeah, that's true actually, especially when you have howitzers.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to see if that's exactly what they do.
Well, the Danes found the range there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they are starting to hit them, and they do have some out in the open. I mean, the trees can only protect so many, and eventually they're gonna have to come out.
They have to come out if they want to take this field. They just can't stay in the trees.
You know, though, I think I'm seeing a mistake the Austrians are making. They really should have organized more first before coming, because it looks like they're just going to run out.
Yeah, they should have gone to assault.
Yeah, and look at it, they're running.
Yeah.
So they're going to be pretty tired.
But I understand why they're running, because the Austrians have
Right. So now, yeah, they're going to line up there. But the thing is, they're going to be coming in piecemeal. They got two there now. I guess they're starting to get in there pretty quickly, but they have the numbers.
We have
They all
killed their
came out
general,
once.
sir. Now they must break.
That would have been pretty heavy. Sounds like...
Okay, these lines, this is the strongest line. Both of these lines are really weak.
Yeah.
And
So the one there, the very organized line there, right at this 1% is the strongest
and
line.
it's weakened.
Whether they're charging in there, so we'll see.
It's red.
Not bad ground, yeah. And it's heavy, that's their heavy infantry.
Our men are running.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think this was probably...
And he's launched his heavy cavalry at them.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I should have been looking out there. Sorry about that. Yeah, that probably broke
Because
his lines.
those lines that did not charge were already weak, so they were not with
Right.
very high morale at this point. So they couldn't stand against the heavy cavalry.
Oh, and here's
Very
the,
good patience by the Irish. Waiting for the right moment.
and look at generals versus generals.
Glorious victory, sir. It's soon
Come down to
yours.
this. It's like it's a
Who do
person.
you think?
It's over. It's over.
I wonder, who do you think initiated that staff on staff?
That's, you know what? I would have guessed the Austrian just because it's like that's,
Desperation. move?
yeah.
They had to lead their men up there because their morale was so broken. So
Yeah.
weak. They had to go in there with them.
Well, that's it. What do you guys think of this fight?
Well, it was. You know, I hate to admit the Danes did do a really good job. They had the terrain. They took the high promontory and never lost their artillery. And as long as they had the artillery and had the range on the Austrians couldn't win. They just couldn't. They needed to get that promontory.
And thus is the reason why to this day I eat fermented fish pastry every morning.
So that was it. It was the fermented fish.
Yes.
They do it all.
Yes.
Well, thank you all for watching. Be sure to.
Well, hold on, Jeff.
Uh-oh.
I do
Oh.
have one question.
Oh,
The big takeaway from all of this,
Uh-huh.
for me,
yeah.
and a question for our colleague here, Cliff,
Uh huh.
why haven't there been more historical battle books written on the houses of battle?
Yes.
The farmhouses, the
Where was that
the
thing?
cottages,
I
buildings that were a part of these important battles. Why don't we see more History Channel about the houses?
I have no idea. Looking at how this house has remained completely intact, and I don't understand why the Austrians did set their command staff up in this place.
this is a good place to stay.
It's a nice, dare I say, chateau.
Oh, that's what happened to that artillery staff. Why the gun was empty. They're all here.
Oh, are you suggesting this a house of ill repute?
I would absolutely say that. In fact, I think we should all go in.
They've been known to follow the
We
troops.
can't go in.
I'll peek. Well, be sure to subscribe, everybody. Thank you all for watching, and happy gaming.